Maybe it shall call him the Raging DM.
I'm raging for a different reason. Hello to the Twitch people out there who are rewatching this and those on YouTube. Welcome back. As I mute Cameron for a moment. Last time we left off, well, I had decided to take a break, so you're probably all wondering why we are here right now. I decided to continue on with D&D, so we are going to be continuing on with Rejected Potential session today, and following up right after their mid-season finale. For those who do not remember what happened last time on D&D, the party managed to take the throne room by blessing the rains down in Africa, their words, not mine, um, through a combination of a lot of area spells to wipe out as many enemies as possible. Eventually, this would lead to the party surviving, unfortunately, and managing to take down everyone in the room, and pretty much killing everyone in the room minus Davmore and Silverthread. We come back to the party having reunited with Malthor, as well as knocking Davmore completely unconscious. The dragon has stopped thrashing about outside by the sounds of it. The area has gone quiet, and one could almost hear a pin drop as we come back to the game.
Well, that was fun.
I'm gonna be dragging Silverthread up the stairs after making sure he's tied tight and gagged and blindfolded. He's not gonna be able to cast spells in any way, shape, or form.
All right.
Paranoia.
Give me a strength check.
I already know I have +5 to that, and he's unconscious, so would it be at advantage?
Yeah. I mean, you're dragging a body. That's mostly what this is, so.
Thank goodness. I got a 16.
And you're dragging him up what stairs exactly?
Towards the group.
Oh, well, I mean, okay. So as you come up into the main room, dragging...
I was already up there. I came up last time, so I was like,
As you drag him up to that little balcony where the rest of the party was standing, mostly casting spells down into the room as they continue to flood the room, light it, or create light, and so on and so forth. Davmore's still unconscious after you wrapped him up. Doesn't seem to really be speaking much, so... Also, I will mention Anton and Tikva. This is your first time seeing the very large and very scaly Dragonborn that just came out of the dungeon alongside Malthor, who looks honestly like he's been through hell. Malthor specifically, not the Dragonborn.
Did we manage introductions last session,
Nope.
or did we just see him? Okay.
Nope. No introductions made. Malthor's not going to give you guys time.
And we still have the Rary's telepathic bond up between you, me, and Kips.
And CR55, but he's now an NPC.
Oh yeah, and CR55, yeah.
He is standing there, but...
He's in the group chat.
Before anyone says anything, Malthor's going to look at them all and be like, where's Cyrus, for one? For two, what the fuck took so long? And for three, I'm going to lift up to heaven. This is Silverthread. He knows something about he might know something about the thing that's coming. We will torture him. Someone had better manage me, because otherwise I will kill him.
So Malthor.
You're speaking of the Trask. It is actually quite close. I am Anton. Regretfully, Cyrus was taken away. It's a whole big thing I can explain later, but I am here in his stead.
Fill me in later, then. I don't trust you. I don't know you.
That is fine.
Look at Tikva. I should probably leave him with you, because if I hold on to this little crap package for much longer, I might strangle him.
Well, give me a moment. Anton, how about you hold on to the dwarf? And she's gonna make her way
This is a
towards
gnome.
the... sorry. I'm just used to dwarfs being the root of my problem.
Ouch!
Tikva, well, it's not at you, but it's at your NPCs. Tikva will make her way towards the Dragonborn, who's not been introduced. She's not gonna get, like, super close, but she'll, like, walk up, not, like, hostile or anything, her usual demeanor, and be like, "Greetings. I am Tikva Silversong. I don't think we've been introduced."
Oh, hi. My name's Asteris. It's real nice to meet you. He holds out his hand. He's like,
she'll shake it.
He's pretty strong. He's got like, he's like a pastel blue. If you had to like take a guess, you would think that like his mom might have been white and his dad might have been blue or something. And he's got all sorts of piercings and things like that, a nose ring. And he's got sad eyes. If you have like an insight over like 15, then you could tell that
16 passive.
You can tell that there's like a little bit of sadness there. And he says, so what are you folks doing here, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, originally we were on a quest to find someone, of a friend of ours and mentor, as well as do some other things, perhaps get some resources. We got greatly derailed by our friend Malthor, who you've met, getting kidnapped. The vampire thing definitely put a bit of a kink in our plans, and I'll get into the dragons later. It's just nice to see someone not turned around here, but I don't think we have time to just stay and talk. Anton, how close?
I think if I remember right, DM, you said outside the city.
Yeah. At this point, you guys can hear and feel the thing as it's stepping closer and closer.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Anton?
I would probably
We
say
need to get
that's
down into the
it.
basement and teleport out of here, taking all of us wherever we can, unless you all already have a plan and have the ship. And Malthor would look at CR-55. If that thing can pilot, it can pilot. I don't care. It's a machine. It's a tool. Let's get out of here.
Yes, I was told the ship, I guess, did it fall? I just know from what Cyrus had told me. That would be handy, but I can also teleport us if need be. I have that capability yet.
I know CR-55 would probably remind you all about bringing back CR-01 under your guys' control.
Yeah, I'd like to
as well as
find the ship, but it did get lost, and we do have that dragon, that mech dragon of ours. If you could find a way to bring it with us somehow, I'd rather not leave it for the Tarrasque. I'd at least let it be ordered to leave.
As well as Malthor holding Silverthread up by hair at this point, or throat. He might know something because they took someone to the heli for experimentation to become a weapon or to help with the Tarrasque, something. So, someone take this. Malthor is holding it out to anybody to take at this point, holding out Silverthread like he's something he doesn't
was
want to
already
be near.
told to grab it on behalf of Tikva.
Okay.
I will take him.
Take the gnome before I play a good round of gnome kicking.
That was the correct, DM, right? That the ship like fell and none of us were able to retrieve it.
That's correct.
So it's in its tiny form, which means it's a tiny toy ship among a giant.
Well, did anybody get to yell
capital.
out the word before it fell? Because if I remember correctly, no one got to, so it wouldn't have returned to its small form.
No, it shrunk. I recall it shrunk, I thought.
It did shrink.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Anti-magic field. God fucking damn it.
Also,
no, I don't think it's anti-magic. I think the vampires just
Anton.
caused it to shrink.
Yes.
Give me a perception check, please.
That I can do.
Or if your passive perception's higher, that works as well.
It's 14 is my passive.
Okay.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
Oof. Where are your nat 20s?
Not on that one.
He's no longer the anime protagonist.
Who is?
You are, according to last time.
Don't know about that. Maybe it's the cowboy.
What's happening?
You guys are currently standing around the room, or the throne room, discussing what the next move is, as you can start to feel the earth quaking beneath you.
Oh. Okay.
Yep.
Asteris is just gonna, you guys can see he has a little, like, it looks like a dragon without any wings, like a little baby dragon without wings, and, he's gonna sit down, and, it's gonna, like, crawl onto his, into his lap, and it's gonna start petting it, wait for you guys to see what you guys say.
We need to leave.
Yeah, Tikva already told, like, Anton, asked if he could teleport, so...
Yeah,
And
yes,
we're
I
bringing him
can.
with us. I pointed to the cowboy. He saved me. He comes.
My name's Asteris.
Hello,
I
If he is
Anton.
willing to come with us, he may,
Asterisk.
but there's gonna be a lot going on, and you're just gonna have to sort of run with it until we can explain everything.
That's, I'm used to just going along with things, so...
And Anton, if you can give the command for the dragon to flee and for us to get teleported, what circles do you know?
Yes, just 1 second. You see Anton walk over and pick up a small spherical object by whose feet was it, DM?
Davmorn's.
Davmore. Okay.
Silverthread. As you pick it up,
Silverthread.
it immediately emits a spell, and you see a doorway open up beneath Davmorn's feet as he falls through and
How would he
closes
fall through if
behind
he's
it.
being held?
Anton didn't say he was still holding him. He said he went to
Yeah,
reach for his
I-
feet.
Yep. I
So-
was not. I went to reach for it.
He falls through,
He
and
dropped
you
him?
immediately, those who are magic casters recognize this as, let me pull up the spell. Okay.
Well, that's a shame.
What,
Well, I did
what
not
level
See
is
expect
it?
Malthor
Happen.
getting pissed.
It was a
It's,
dimension door. There we go.
Basically a trapped item.
Was that within view of everyone?
Those who were looking towards Anton, but Anton wasn't doing anything particular, so.
I mean, Tikva was looking at him to talk.
Could I
presume.
counterspell the dimension door?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Counterspell.
All right, go ahead and
Somebody
roll.
fucking counterspell it.
Do we all
My,
have counterspell?
I'm a warlock, so my spell is automatically cast at 5th level, so...
Yes,
That'll
go
do
ahead
it.
and roll. Wait, it's a 9th level spell.
Dimension
Is
door
what
at
he's
ninth
using
level
this at?
doesn't do okay.
Oh,
Yes. This was a high cast for the spell, so that's why I said roll.
yep.
That isn't gonna do it.
Nope.
Mm.
Can I grab the gnome before he goes through?
If
Nope.
you weren't right next to Anton.
I'll tell you what. Give me a dexterity. Let's say. Actually, let's go with an athletics thing. See if you can catch him. And let me know what you get, Malthor.
Don't fall through.
I would agree with Tikva on this. Don't fall through.
Just let him go. He's unconscious, he's bound, he's blindfolded, he's gagged. He gets teleported somewhere, hopefully he just drowns in the ocean.
And what'd you get, Malthor? 12. As you go running to try and catch him, seeing that as Anton picks up and seeing the door start to open, as everyone else goes to cast counterspell, you charge ahead, and right as you get there, he falls through. But you do see something. You see one silver-haired.
Discord hates me. I
Oh.
rolled a 28.
Oh well, really? It says here
Yes.
that On your game log.
Oh, it does?
Oh no, that was someone else. Sorry.
Okay.
Wait, yeah, you did an athletics check. 2 plus 10.
I had Angeal holding my phone for a second while I grabbed my dice to distract him. I rolled real. He must have been tapping around my phone.
Ah, well, okay. As you grab hold, you get pulled through.
God!
And you find yourself in the throne room again with the heli. And a one person you did not want to see. And that is Zilpip. Sitting there. As you both are found pulled through into a cage with anti-magic bars.
Not the shit again!
And Zilpip looks at you for a moment and just smiles as the realization comes that you're going to be a new test subject. Malthor, you are at this point considered dead.
None of us were able to grab Malthor to stop him or anything?
No one else wanted to charge after him, and the only person who cast Counterspell was Asteris. That's why I asked if anybody else was going to do anything.
I was going to cast Counterspell, but I just didn't do it when Asteris casted it.
Yeah.
Because last time you said it was only one person allowed to cast Counterspell.
I did.
Thing.
Well, again, yeah, because you guys were...
let us know the change in rule there.
No, I think, if I remember correctly, that was due to something you guys were dealing with in the boss fight. So I was allowing one reaction per. But yeah. As Malthor falls through, the portal closes up. Everyone who, well, actually, I think that's the entire party minus Kips. Everyone who practices non-divine magic, though, please give me an Arcana check.
Divine Soul Sorcerer doesn't
no
do anything, right? It's still okay.
Yeah.
Let me roll.
No, if you're a sorcerer, you're still you're not considered a divine magic caster. Just like I wouldn't count a warlock as a divine magic caster.
Why'd I say times? What?
that
Don't count that.
Oh man, 20 times. All right, Anton 17. Okay. 20. All right, and Asteris, are you rolling as well? I think Asteris is preoccupied. Okay.
Wait. I rolled a 2 on
okay.
On the Arcana.
Anton and Tikva, you both get the exact location of where that portal led out. I can give you a picture on the map to show you. Give me a moment, so that way you can get a real good idea as we're going through this. But the general glimpse of it seems to be leading to the middle of the southern continent, or a continent south of here, where the Heli capital is supposedly, that Anton you would know about due to your time with Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find the map with towns on it. Just give me a minute. There we go. Okay. Let me go ahead and just get this as a screenshot so it's easier for you guys to see this real quick. I'm totally not blundering for a moment to do something. Alright. To give you an idea, and then I'll circle where you guys are as well. Copy that. Okay. With you guys in Bolton Citadel currently, the capital down south is where you'll be going. At least that's where the magic would have taken, would have been most, or led to. And yes, for those who are in Twitch chat, yes, Malthor has become the Daphne of the group. Or, yeah, the one that gets kidnapped.
So is Malthor confirmed dead or just considered dead?
He is considered dead. He has now been captured by Zilpip and the Heli, who will now will most likely begin experimenting on him.
Okay.
They will get a side quest later on. I can.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's sorry I couldn't counterspell that. That's my bad.
It was unexpected picking up this object.
Without one of us checking it, we probably would not have known. Goodness, the Heli capital. That's where the Tarrasque came from, didn't it? I don't think. Are we even prepared to try to rescue him again?
Trying to think what would I know, DM, of the current heli, because I imagine that I jumped forward in time when Cyrus sent me.
Yes, but Cyrus would have I assume would have taught you as much as he knew about the current from when he last studied them. Give me a moment to pull up their sheet real quick. So the main thing, first off, that he would know is that the Heli and the Helio are, although the same species, it's kind of like the idea of the English versus the colonies. The Helio are treated like colonials. They aren't looked upon very well. The Heli, however, being the main where the main empire is and being the main form of the species, currently would be known that their current ruler is under a council. Just checking something real quick to confirm something. One moment, because I want to make sure I'm correct in this. One moment. Yes, they are current. So the current king would be the brother to Raziel, the lord of the council, one of the lords in the current council of House Seraphim, one of the most powerful houses, as well as the most brutal of all the houses. They're known for their love for war, experimenting on creatures, and just generally playing with things. They see all species pretty much as lesser beings, and have been known to attempt on more than one occasion to conquer and destroy all those around them. The Heli have also are well known in this world as the species who freed the rest of the world of Incremia, the New World, from the dragons' hold way back when the worlds were split. House Seraphim supposedly goes all the way back to when the first revolts happened, and is said to be one of the first Aasimar created by draconic magic rather than divine magic. So
Anton will share all that.
Okay.
That's what he knows for in theory, the current power and info of the heli. I do not know if we would be ready for that. We could possibly make trips elsewhere. I know that there are few now ancient alliances that we may be able to call on.
Yes.
Whatever we do, we should probably do soon. Possibly try to find your ship and at least get out of the city.
If we have time, we should grab the ship and take the dragon and leave. If not, depending on if you have teleportation circles or access to the Tiefling Kingdom, we can stop back at the kingdom. I have power there. Perhaps we could find another ship or at least rest for the time, but we can't stay here, and we definitely can't go invading the capital. Hopefully Malthor can hold out. But we need to move fast. Whatever we do.
As the party continues to sit and contemplate for a moment. We're going to come back for a second. And Malthor, as you find yourself waking up later on, you see that you have been put into a cell. You don't know where you are. You can feel magic, strong magic, almost everywhere around you. And you can barely feel any divine power coming from your god. You see Davmorn sitting beside you, chained up just as you are. His gag has been removed and his blindfold has been removed. And like you, he is without weapons, without armor, without anything but a small cloth. And he just is sitting there staring at a wall. What would you like to do? Malthor is still silent.
Is he muted?
Could you repeat after the small cloth? My Discord decided to disconnect me.
Oh, as he continues to just stare at a wall, not really even acknowledging you. As you look around, you kind of see these iron bars that seem to give off anti-magic. You can see that the bricks in the walls are somewhat cracked, but still seem strong as you rattle your chains around.
First thing I'm going to do is try and break the chains off the wall. I know I'm physically strong enough normally, so...
Give me a strength check.
Let's roll this. Don't let me down, dice. 21.
Alright, as you begin to pull, the chains, you can hear them creaking and cracking as they suddenly snap. Your hands are still chained together, but you are no longer chained to the wall.
I'm going to walk over to Silverthread, look him dead in the eyes, and be like, this is your fault.
He doesn't seem to pay attention to you as he continues staring at the wall.
I'm going to... You know what? I'm going to punch him. Straight across the face, get him to pay attention for a minute.
Okay. Give me an attack roll to see if you can hit him.
I know it'll just be +5, because nothing on me. 19.
That hits! As you smack him across the face, or punch him across the face, you see him spit off a few teeth and a little bit of blood, and continue staring at the wall, not really paying attention to you.
Wake the fuck up and stop staring off into space.
As he turns to kind of look at you, you see you see his eyes, and they almost look as if they're dead, as if no real light remains. It's also at this point that you notice a strange half-crescent moon mark on his forehead.
You turned against Narmak. You turned against the god. You turned against a family. You're going to wake up. If I have to beat it into you that you're going to wake up and we're going to get out of here, and then you're going to make reparations for everything you've done.
He just continues to stare at you, not speaking.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna guess that I can't cast magic in this cell due to the anti-magic on the bars.
You can barely feel your god, so your divinity would be very weak at this point.
I guess I'd attempt this. Because I'm gonna guess that marking is arcane.
Mm-hmm. It's a good guess.
Knowing that I'm dealing with Zilpip, I'm gonna immediately, and this is a long shot, pray for absolution for someone else.
Okay.
Do not let this be a failure.
Roll religion, and what exactly are you praying or gonna say in your prayer?
I'm gonna pray for Narmak to forgive Silverthread and to be strengthened by the fire within my heart for his forge, to give us power to get through this, and to return home safely, to protect him and keep him hidden.
Okay.
Oh, it's a religion roll, you said.
Yep.
Six. 21.
Okay. We will come back to you in a moment. Anton, Tikva, Kips, and Asteris. As you guys, I assume at this point, would plan for an escape to leave the throne room and the Bolton Citadel before the Trask arrive, taking the dragon and finding or calling upon the dragon. You do find that this dragon is carrying in its mouth the very small keychain of the boat.
Thank fuck.
Thank you. I'm myself blanking on its name. Grace, no. Hope.
CR2. Hope was its designation.
Hope. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Hope. Keep yourself safe. We are going to venture away from this Trask. I will call on you either through CR00 or a message when needed again.
It nods, kind of starts to stand up for a second, and flaps its wings and begins to fly.
CR55 would immediately grab the keychain, look at them all, and be like, and say, "What's the code to get it to get big?"
CR55. I'm not sure the ship can outrun the Trask. I feel we may need to teleport.
If I can get higher than it, it'd be better if I can get higher than it and teleport
I can get us.
But...
Yeah, I can get us away and leave the ship small.
Well,
yeah.
Well, then let's go. CR55 would tuck it onto his person and hold on to it.
Where would you like to go? I can get us back to the Tiefling Lands for now.
If
that is where you'd like to go.
If that's the safest place, then yes.
Anywhere than here is probably safe, but that might be good. So yeah, I will cast Teleportation Circle, which is my last 5th level. And take us back to the Tiefling Lands.
Okay, you find yourself in the dungeon below the House Silversong room or manor, and as you guys come out, for a moment, everything seems quiet, and then you see him, your favorite man, the one and only. Not Gaul, just some random guard that's just standing there, really.
Damn.
The Dragon Forge seems to have been cleared out. It looks like most of the metal and weapons have been moved. Hello, Kips. Welcome back.
Hello.
And as you guys are walking about, the city seems as you guys are walking through the dungeon, coming back above, things are quiet and relatively seem peaceful as the guards are continuing doing their routes, and no one seems to be bothering you guys whatsoever.
CR55 is going to look at Tikva and be like, should we warn them?
Warn them of what? The Trask is a world away. I need to find Gaul, though. And yeah, Tikva is going to be looking around for Gaul.
Wait, she said the word. Does that happen? Does anything happen? Okay.
No,
the ship activates with the ship activates with intention intent. Of the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah.
What if Gaul would have thought that through?
I'm sorry. It sounds like an item Gaul would give us. No offense.
Yeah.
Just the mere mention of him makes the ship malfunction.
I expect, lady, that you should probably introduce myself and it seems our new companions here also, so that people are aware. Once
I found Gaul, we must inform him first. Secondly, we'll inform all guards and servants of the castle, and perhaps the people might not need to know just yet. But there's a line of priority, and the priority now is finding Gaul. So, and she's like hunting around. Would I be able to guess where he'd be?
So CR55 doesn't know what to do.
Sorry, what was that? Tikva?
Would I be able to guess or assume where he might be, like just based off of where I knew he would frequent back when I was there?
Bars are pretty common for him around the area. That or the throne room, or in his own quarters with your daughter.
Which one is closer?
Well, right now you've just come up through the dungeon, so at this point you would be near the throne room as well as your own personal dominion.
Throne room, quarters, and if not, Tikva will beeline out of the castle. She's just expecting the others are going to follow.
Okay.
Sierra 55 is probably just gonna actually stand there feeling a little stupid because he doesn't know what to do, and then start following. But not Tikva. He'll start following assigned operator.
Yeah, Anton will follow Tikva.
If everyone's following, Asteris and his Drake will follow along as well.
Okay. As you guys kind of head out, you do notice the guards kind of give you a wide berth as they see Asteris's Drake walking beside him, and generally being terrified of dragons after an incident in the Tiefling lands with the God Emperor.
Yeah.
But as far as goes, after a little while searching the throne room, you see that it looks like it's been used recently, but the guards inform you that Gaul is currently looking after little Zaya, and is in his own personal quarters planning out some future military campaigns. After a quick walk to one wing of the manor, you manage to finally come upon his room. Realizing that this room is probably a little small for your entire party to enter and would crowd the child as well, most of the party, I would assume, would stay outside.
Tikva will inform them to preferably all wait by the door, and she'll call them in if needed.
Very well.
And then she's just gonna like open the door pretty fast, not too loud, because if her daughter's sleeping, she doesn't need to wake her up. God, she knows that hell. Mm-hmm. But she's being efficient rather than like slow.
Okay. As you walk in, two things happen. Firstly, in the hallway, as you're walking in, one of the guards seems to walk by and drop down in front of Asteris's Drake a bowl, sort of dog's bowl, if you will, full of nothing but cooked meat. And then just continues on.
Thank you. He'll take a piece for himself. Oh. He'll eat alongside him. Idris. If I haven't said it already, his name's Idris. And he gestures to his Drake. It's got like tattoos on it and stuff too. Mm-hmm. And you notice when they were fighting, the tattoos were like glowing.
Okay. The guard just kind of nods as he sets the bowl down and smiles and says, "My daughter had a dog once as well," and just continues on.
I think.
Hey, I hope you enjoy the cooked beef.
I think the education level in the Tiefling lands might need to be addressed at some point.
I think it's dropped a bit. Well, with Gaul in charge, it might have dropped a few IQ points.
A few?
I can fix that.
Couple hundred.
If you want, I can fix that.
I think we're back into single digits. Be careful.
Well, I suppose it's the thought that counts, isn't it?
I mean, CR55 is gonna look at you, look at the Drake, look back at the cowboy, and be like, "It is, but that is no dog."
That's a weird ass cat.
Looks over at Kips. You do not know animals, yet you look like one. You need to stop.
All right. As you walk in, Gaul just kind of smiles as he's sitting there playing with little Zaya, teaching her what looks to be some sort of magic. You're not sure what it is, but if you, after a quick glance, you realize it's probably the cantrip Thaumaturgy, as it's one of Gaul's favorite spells to play with.
Oh, yes.
And
you'll be able to hear the baby cry anywhere in the castle.
Fuck.
Yeah, actually.
Fine, I'm adventuring. I'm the one who's gonna be gone. Not my problem.
And
wait, did Tikva actually say fuck? Because if so, baby's first words. Let's go.
No. As you look in the room, Tikva, you notice something catches your eye. Give me a moment just to pull up something so I have this.
Who is it?
No, it's not a person. You notice a
Okay.
statue
Shinobi.
made of stone, kind of set aside to one room beside a little bit beyond the table, where you see a bunch of pieces, of course, set down, looking like as if it's some sort of military campaign being planned out. As you take a closer look at the statue, given the fact that you have plenty of time, I'm not going to make you roll for this. You see what looks to be a tiefling of sorts, with holding a lute and in their hands playing, a sword on their back, a sort of rapier looking device, and a almost like leer being wrapped around in their tail. At the bottom of the statue looks to be a few tentacles sticking up of an octopus. And you notice as you get closer to the tiefling, it's Zaya. It's a rendition of Zaya. And Gaul just kind of smiles at you and nods and hands you the child and starts to slowly try to walk out the door.
Gaul, now is not the time for your antics. There's alarming news. Me and my party, we've had to end our campaign early, I'm afraid.
He opens the door and there's a giant robot.
Yeah, no, but Tikva will accept the daughter, like, hold her, whatever, but she's looking at Gaul very serious, and Tikva's already pretty serious looking. Now she's grim looking.
Gaul looks at her and goes, I'm gonna take a wild guess, as he starts to take off his clothes. As usual. Well, take off his shirt specifically. And he looks at you and goes, Tarask, Heli, who are trying to kill us.
Yes.
And
Gnomes.
Gnome. Yeah, which one?
Zilpip and Silverthread, who we captured, and then also took Malthor with him a second time to the Heli capital. Oh, the capital, dear. I heard it's great weather that year. Sunny with a side of imminent doom.
No, that's pretty accurate. Poor Chuck. We sent him there to scout, and he came back with cat ears, and
You sent. He doesn't have magic. Why would you send him to a place like that? He could probably hardly defend himself.
Let's be honest. We paid him way too much. He was old. It was worth it. It was worth it to see him come back with a fish mouth.
Whatever. Regardless, we need to talk and discuss. There's a lot now to deal with. And what is that statue? When did you get that?
Wait, you didn't order that?
No, I've not been in contact with anyone. Dear, I've been on an expedition almost dying to dragons.
Oh, so your normal weekend, got it. Well, that makes this interesting. Huh. Oh, well. Maybe your doctor ordered it. Wasn't he very familiar with your sister? Or cousin, apologies.
What?
Tikva's gonna just give one look at him and be like, I'll give you one chance to correct that, dear.
Oh, God. He just kind of backs up, opens the door, and goes, Furbolg, come in here, please. I need your assistance.
What? Yeah, okay. I'll just walk in.
What's up? He shoves Kips and runs out the door.
No, there's other people there.
He is running as fast as he can. All the rest of the party, you just see...
CR-55 would grab him and stop him, being like, nope, 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 you're not authorized to leave.
Give me a...
Everyone dogpile him.
Give me a... Let's say, a dexterity.
Drake, Sick the dog on him.
Yep.
I think I have a +3 to that. I can't pull with this sheet right now because I know it'll close that Discord. I have that feeling.
Let me pull it up here real quick. You have a +2 to your dexterity.
+2. What does a non-natural 20 get me?
Well, let's see. Apparently a captured shirtless tiefling.
Lifts him up, sets him back in the room, closes the door. Sorry to bother. CR-55. CR-55 looks at Anton. Did I do that right?
I think so, and now it makes so much more sense what Cyrus told me. Yeah.
Oh God.
If that
God.
was
Didn't
Gaul,
tell
it
me
makes more
anything about
sense.
this. I wasn't warned, but I was always
Uh.
told by when I was first programmed to capture things that run and put them back where they came from.
No, I think you did good.
Gaul
Excuse me?
Gaul just looks at Kips now as he's been set back in the room and goes, "Well, shit."
Yeah,
Where did
typically
the
that doesn't work
statue
out
come
that well.
from? Who sent the statue?
He looks at Kips and goes, so Doctor, I got a question for you real quick. If I cast catapult out the window, do you think I'll survive?
If you
give me
the child, you will not survive.
That is a good point. You should probably give her the child first.
No, I have the child. The point is, if he shatters glass and potentially harms or makes the child cry, Tikva will castrate him with the new lightsaber. It'll be great for it.
He's thinking for a second. Do I have? No, I don't have. Fuck.
Gaul?
Yes?
Meeting later today. I'm consulting the party. You will show up. You will be preferably mostly clothed, and we will discuss you accepting random statues of my dead cousin later.
So traditional war
Actually,
girl?
I would personally prefer partially clothed, if I may interject.
Gaul winks at Kips.
I wink
Kip.
back.
You know, to divorce in the Tiefling lands, one of us would have to kill each other, correct, Kips?
Are you two
Sounds
married?
like a win-win to me.
Christ. Kips, please, out of the room.
Oh.
Take me
okay.
with you, please.
Can you catapult me out of the room?
No.
Can I come with?
No.
Damn. He just kind of
You are a
shoves
servant,
Kips out the door.
dear. Need to watch the baby because my business is not done yet. You look very unbusy as she holds the child out to Gaul.
Kind of drops his head, grabs the child, and goes, "I'll be
Wonderful.
there." Traditional
Thank
war
you.
garb.
Yes. And if the
I
guards
whisper through the door, partially clothed.
If the guards are alarmed at all, just let them know the Dragonborn and his Drake and the Warforged are with me.
He snaps his fingers, and immediately you see magic kind of come off, and then nothing seems to happen.
Good. Later, preferably over dinner, we're starved. And she'll give one little I don't know if she has to lean down if Gaul's holding her, but she'll give one little look to Zaya and be like, "Be good for your dad, dear. Mother will be back." And plant a kiss on her head before walking out.
Okay.
Can I
She
kiss
does
the
not
baby
look
too?
happy. Does Kip say that out loud?
Yes.
Tikva, you're in the doorway, correct?
Yeah, he is.
There's a dagger on your throat, and Tikva looks at you and be's like, "Out of the room. All of us. My daughter needs to rest."
Gaul Smiley starts to put her down and starts to kind of look like he's leaving the room.
If you leave my child unattended by gods, the Tarrasque will be the last thing the world will need to worry about.
Oh God.
Fucking damn it. He turns around and goes back in.
CR55 is blocking the door entirely, only letting people out who aren't running.
CR55, what are your programmings in relation to children?
What are children?
That answers my question. No, definitely, Gaul, you're watching her.
I'm great with children.
Out of the room.
Well, CR55 was waiting outside the door.
No, she's saying this to Kips, who's presumably in the doorway where she's trying to walk out of right now.
Picks Kips up, gently turns around, setting him down.
Oh. They're like, can you do that more often? I really hate walking.
I might be able to carry you. You may be light enough.
I would hope I'm life enough.
I don't think.
Light enough.
Isn't there a weight
white.
limit on catapult of
Oh,
like
yeah.
5 pounds?
No, that was a misclick. Just ignore me.
Okay. I was like, wait a second. Gall is not
He's
skinny.
catapulted the child.
No.
Oh my god.
I was checking
if
something.
If I cast Death Ward, it wouldn't be a problem.
That's not how that works.
Okay, moving on. The door is shut. The door is shut. I still have a dagger out though. Kip.
Look,
Am I in the room? No, right?
No, you're in the hallway
No,
now
you're in
with
the
the rest of the
hallway.
we're
group.
in the hall. She stepped out into the hall. CR55 is gonna look at her and be like, "Did I do good by putting him back in there?
You did fine. It's.
Capture and retrieval
Come
program
on.
was successful."
We're leaving. We have stuff to discuss. I thought we'd get something out of it. Seems there won't be anything useful until after dinner. I had to check on my
Well-
daughter.
While this is going on, I would like to educate the robot on what children.
Oh,
No.
okay.
CR55 looks at Kips and goes, "Wait, you guys reproduce that way? I thought the small
Yes.
ones came from eggs."
No, friction activated babies.
That is horrifying.
As the party goes about to go get a meal, having the staff ordered around, retiring to the main room.
CR55 refuses food because he physically can't eat.
Returning to the throne room, firstly, allow me to start. Anton, as you examine this thing while this is all going on, you realize that this device seems to be a one-time use of a dimension door spell. It looks to be something that would store a spell up to 9th level that was developed, and you of course see the natural signature of one known as Zilpip Kung Pao on it.
Yeah, the device itself looks functional. It just had that one spell in it when we found it. So potentially could put another spell in. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just have to, from what you can gather, you'd have to remove the rune of the current spell on it, or you could put that same spell back on it at the same level if you have that ability.
Okay.
Kind of like a magic tattoo, if you will.
Like
Oh.
an ion stone or whatever.
If you could try and figure out how to recreate this thing. The metal you don't recognize at all, Anton. You've never seen this material before, as far as that goes.
CR55 would look over at it, being
Okay.
programmed with tinkering. Would he recognize the metal?
He would not.
Odd metal. Want to examine. Am allowed? Ken has?
Yeah, I'll hand it to him to
Okay.
examine it.
Okay.
I will start fiddling. CR55 will just start fiddling with it, trying to figure out the metal and its properties.
We're
Okay.
in the main room away from like most people. I
At
assume
this
there's probably a
point,
few guards, but
the group has managed to retire to back to the throne room where a table has been set out, food has been brought in for you lot, and otherwise than the guards standing outside of the throne room, there are no other guards in the room. It is just you lot
Okay.
currently.
Tikva will turn to everyone besides Kips, because Kips already knows. Apologies on behalf of my husband's behavior. He's useful despite his behavior. Hopefully,
He seems underfed. He was lanky and
He's-
light.
He's got a lot of issues. Regardless, he is good at battle strategy when he decides to behave, so hopefully tonight we can discuss anything important. I'm afraid, given the fragile state of the government right now, we don't really have a council or anyone to discuss with further, so he will have
What
to
about
do for
leaders of
now.
tribes or leaders of groups that are in the area? That may be most
All
useful.
of the tieflings on the mainland have, as far as we're aware of, already gone to the capital, and those on the mainland are dead or doing their own thing without us. It's a divided nation right now.
I do
with the
have
state of the
schematics for
world.
grenades if need be, but I do not know if you have the materials for me to create such things.
We have lots of materials in the Tiefling lands. The issue is we don't have people united to get those.
This is why we threaten them with grenades.
We are not threatening a nation of already tired, scared, and frankly, probably not the most loyal to me people with
Says you.
grenades.
Maybe we
Yes.
offer them grenades instead.
We don't.
CR55 is hooked on the grenades right now. I
If-
make them, then you offer them.
If we convince them that they're apples and we paint them red, maybe they're dumb enough that they'll actually eat it.
Asterisk is doing the thing where an introvert is at like a party and he just kind of like shrinks into the background.
Over at the CR55 looks at the cowboy, or maybe the charismatic one with the spear can be useful.
Useful to perhaps help us fight. I don't think he really has experience nor wants to try to fix a broken kingdom. I barely want to do that.
I don't.
No one wants to do that. Why do you think most my original creators let it all fall to pieces and scattered my kind to the wind? It's simple, though. If you want to hold a nation together, you need to give them a reason to fight. More than their lives, more than their country.
And that's why we need to discuss the Tarrasque situation going forward and perhaps make an announcement. But we can't risk spreading panic either. There's a fine line between rallying troops and just making them lose hope.
Sometimes those without hope have the best chance, but
Anton,
if my creator was originally going around creating allies for you, wouldn't you have record of those?
He is, the future, the technical past. Gaul gave me a document of some old allies we could perhaps rely on, but there's nothing concrete. We are basically on bare threads in a world falling to pieces. I hope you realize, CR55, no offense. Unless your creator can manifest himself in our moment of need, or whoever they are, really we need to focus on other things. I would not put it past Cyrus. Yes, but he's busy now, is he not, Anton?
He is. He's still preparing. I sent you a PM, DM.
Then Anton, do you have any other information? Cyrus was from the future, whether he went to the past or not. If you have any guidance, because right now there's a lot on my plate, and I don't really know what direction we're supposed to take besides not die, which frankly isn't really a good plan.
The second orb that had a recording in it that we never listened to?
No, we listened.
Yeah, we kind of retconned that. Well, we had the time in the tower again, and we kind of said that we just did it. I shared it in chat, which I can share it again.
Yeah, no, that's been done with.
Nah, you good.
So that you had it.
CR55 is exploring all options, and his personality keeps changing. He's old. No one's updated his operating system in over 1,000 years. Leave him be. He's running on Windows XP when we're on Windows 10.
Something like that. Windows 3.1.
Yeah. He's running on almost the original Windows system. He really needs a software update. Come on, guys.
Miguel, this wouldn't include your character if you're just reading this because we didn't meet up with you before the battle.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, Sophia, you can read it, but just know, in character, you wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, because those stones were a one-time use thing.
Oh, well, I guess they're gone now.
As you guys continue to plan this out, two men come into the room. The first comes in on a giant dire wolf of black coloring, or black fur, with bright red nails. Atop him is a rather dark-skinned figure who looks to be one of the few tieflings you've actually ever seen with a beard. In fact, for most of you, this would probably be the first tiefling you've ever seen with a beard. Tikva,
I would look amazed.
You know this man, as you're very familiar with tiefling history, well, to a certain extent. This is the man known as the Red Storm, who leads one of the most elite mercenary groups of the Tiefling Kingdom, and is considered one of the most dangerous beings on this planet that is not divine.
Oh, fuck.
He is he is coming in walking beside Gaul, who is wearing nothing but a kilt and is all oiled up.
Is that traditional Tiefling war attire? Looking at Gaul.
Gaul smiles and goes, "It is now."
No, it isn't.
Looks at the other tiefling that has the beard. I don't believe him.
The other tiefling just kind of stares at you for a moment. Looks over to Tikva, kind of with a passive annoyance of CR55 and goes,
Yep.
So you're the queen.
Through all that has happened,
Hush,
yes,
child,
I'm
I
the
do
one.
not care. You have a dragonborn. Great. We've got scaled bastards who could barely beat Goliaths. A Firbolg, who's basically his entire species is enslaved to another version of his own species.
Well, that's
I
kind of
don't
rude.
know what the hell that human is looking thing. And a robot. Or Warforged. My apologies.
It's in between, actually.
No
you were
one cares.
close.
Shut up.
You're not designated user.
I have spent my entire life fighting for this one, as he looks down at Gaul and looks back to Tikva dead in the eyes with his very red eyes and cigar moving from one side of his mouth to the other. Fighting for the previous emperor or whoever would have me. And now you expect me to serve some queen who can't even hold herself together. By the looks of it, you've lost the majority of your party, and your cousin was cut down like a pansy. You're supposed to be the next tiefling ruler, and you can't even hold your nation together. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't cut you down right here and take the throne for myself.
At that, CR55 would make sure he's partially in front of her.
If you believe in a world crumbling, in a state with gods dying, Tarascan creatures of power that no emperor has ever had to rule through, if you believe you can do better, by all means, I am willing to negotiate the transfer of the throne. But regardless, you will also have to deal with the issues plaguing our nation, which I might add is in shambles like most of the world.
He pauses for a second, looking you dead in the eyes.
She looks back.
He takes his cigar out of his mouth and wipes it or knocks it out on his armor. You have a fair point, child. You're not as wise as the last emperor, but I can respect that. Well, then I've got good news. Currently, I've managed to keep Tenham's alliance of lords together. While you've been gone, me and Gaul, your husband here, summoned me to the court, and I could not say no to the former heir to the throne. That and the fact that this man is the only man who's almost beaten me in combat. We have the High Elves on our side. We have the Tabaxi, who still serve beside us. The Snow Elves, at the promise of Dim Flame, would be ensured that him and Saphira would be able to keep their territories, and we would support them against any invasion. And the No clans that joined up with Tenham. Well, technically, joined up with the previous Queen of Dragon's Gate. We've reinstated the Queen of Dragon's Gate while you've been gone. She offered quite enough of a bribe to us that we were willing to do so. And we've discovered two valuable things. First off, Zaya's second unofficial child. The one that Zilpip had captured and used as a magical battery. And a changeling that was apparently a daughter slash son. I don't even know anymore. Those changelings are so irritating. Of one of your old party mates. Both have given us the ideal location of Zilpip. And given us information further that we did not have. He snaps his fingers, and you see servants come running in and start dropping off, or moving all the food aside to secondary tables in the background, and start laying out a map of the entirety of the world. Here's what we found. And he looks to Gaul and kind of quiets down as he climbs off his wolf and sits down at the other end of the table, across from Tikva. Gaul kind of smiles at Tikva, kind of pats the furbolg on the back as he walks by, and just kind of looks and goes, "So here's the good news. We're not fucked, but we are in trouble."
For once?
Leans over to Kips. What does that word mean? I have heard it multiple times today.
Fucked? Well, you
Correct.
see.
Okay, back to plot.
So, back to the friction-activated baby thing.
Oh, is that the name? Is that the name for that?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Filling out more vocabulary. It's changed over the past couple thousand years, and I need to update my operating systems.
The serious
This
moment.
will assist with that.
Gaul kind of looks at you lot and smiles and goes, "So we have about 4 factions from what we've gathered. We've got ours, which is Tenum's Alliance. Also good news, we still haven't found Tenum. No one knows where he is. So, there's that. We have the confirmed alliance, as my friend here mentioned, of the High Elf King. Although technically, there's more story to that. We won't go into that. Apparently, Aeron has volunteered to marry the High Elf King's son, so we've regained their allegiance to us. Tenum called off the marriage now that Zaya's dead, so congrats on that. I guess that letter was sent out before he was kidnapped or killed. I don't know. Not my business, not my care. Dibus Jr. still swears that he is aligned with us. The Snow Elves, as long as we guarantee that they will keep their independence, are agreeing to stay with us, which gives us both Snow Dwarves, an old race that have been reborn, which would be very valuable as they are very magically resistant, as we found, and have a lot of information on what do you call them? The beholder thingies that you adventurers like to fight.
The giant eyeball monsters that swarm places intend to take over.
Those things, yes.
Internal bestiary lacking. Need to update.
And the Null clans who swore allegiance to technically Dragon's Gate, and Aeron. So we've got a small army. We number roughly about 40,000 troops to field. We're the smallest faction of the group, which is the good news. There's Trinitus, as many of you probably are familiar. He is the Holy Dwarven Emperor. He is a child, but he has divine power. And he is terrifying. He's also apparently the son of a Yuan-Ti queen and Logalthus. So, godchild. And always a good idea those kids turn out great. They have the mountain dwarves and the hill dwarves. I don't know how he managed, but he did. The Yuan-Ti. The Storming Emperor, as Zaya was very familiar with. Many of you may not know who the Storming Emperor is, but those are the orcs that Zaya and her group back in the day tried to set up in a guild with, and, well, it went south pretty quickly. And the Red Orcs have joined up with Trinitus. So, cannibals, and more cannibals, and then dwarves. There's Toutlers.
Is there any possibility we can get them on our side?
Depends. You feel like killing a demigod child with both the god of death, or god of wrath and rage, and the powers of a Yuan-Ti Black Queen on his side, as well as an entire
they were
army.
Trying to rescue an ally of theirs that had holy power. Maybe if we end up rescuing him again, he can help.
Hey, you want to try it? I'm not willing to. He's currently standing around 75,000 strong to field, and that's not counting artillery. These guys, they've got dwarves on their side. They've invented a cannon that shoots snakes. It's terrifying. Imagine a giant Yuan-Ti
but amazing.
Oh, I've seen it with my own eyes. I tell you, I didn't think they could shoot a prince out of a cannon that large. Anyways, there's Toutler, who has founded his own creation. Yeah. Basically, Toutler has a group of giants, what's left of them, through a promise. He has managed to gain Falthar. Oh yeah, by the way, Falthar's back, for those who aren't familiar. That was the god of the giants, the guy who kicked the shit out of his father. It's a long story. The goblin slavers are sided with Toutler. The High Queen has sided with Toutler, and, well, half of the Heli have sided with Toutler. The Helio specifically, not the Heli themselves directly. So there's that. It's kind of a loose alliance from what our gather of understanding is that House Seraphim kind of negotiated that with Toutler to open up a secondary war front and basically attack everyone else. There's also a rumor of an alpha dragonborn that has been born. I'm not sure what that means, I'm gonna be honest, but apparently it's twice the size of a traditional dragonborn.
Can I make like a history check or something on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Estris.
Actually, can I do
I was
that
about
too?
to ask if CR55 would know anything about that, but...
I'm gonna let the one dragonborn do it first.
Yeah.
Okay.
-1 to history. Here we go.
Oh, do it with advantage. You would know your people. So.
Ooh, I got even worse with advantage. 11.
Once upon a time, you read a story, a fairy tale, if you will, that your mother once handed to you. That read along the sides that Dragonborn used to be really big back in the days when the Goliath and the Dragonborn shared a continent with each other. They got smaller when the Goliath got kicked off because that's how they evolved. They didn't need to be as large to fight brutally. They became smarter. That and the mixing of lizard folk caused them to create a smaller breed of themselves. So theoretically, an alpha Dragonborn could be that.
Can I also
should
Kips,
the
go
robot
ahead.
That's older than shit roll?
No, CR55 would have no idea what a Dragonborn is.
Other than the crystal ones that came from...
Nope. Wouldn't even know about that.
Is that what that lizard man is?
I think so.
Well, a long time ago, we Dragonborn used to be much bigger. And then, well, lizard folk came around and we stopped being so warlike as we once were, and we're not as big as we used to be. An alpha Dragonborn is like a pure blood, like they're not mixed in with lizard folk blood at all. It's just like in the before times. They'll be a force to be reckoned with, I'm sure.
I'm from the before times. I've never fucking heard of these things.
Lastly, that Gull kind of looks at you guys and goes, lastly, we have what we're calling the Heli Conglomerate, which is simple. It's the main Heli race alongside Zilpip. Let's be honest, Zilpip's his own faction, and he's fucking terrifying. Oh, by the way, my queen, as he kind of smiles, he says, we received a letter for you, recently. Allow me, would you like me to read this aloud, or would you like to take this to your own quarters later?
Might as well read it out loud if it has anything important the party should know.
Alright, he pulls out the paper and breaks the seal on it and goes, alright. Tikva. I am safe in the land of the dwarves with my god. I do not know when I will rejoin you. But I will someday. And hopefully with more allies and weapons. Signed, yours truly. The idiot who keeps getting captured. Malthor. No, there's no dot. Sorry, I'm sorry, Kips. There was nothing there.
Can I put a dot?
I apologize, good sir. I do not think this is meant for you. But yes.
But I think it is.
He sent this letter in now?
Well, just actually when you left the room, it appeared on my war table. I tried to get your attention, but you told me not to leave our daughter, so, you know...
Malthor was just captured. How'd he write a letter? May I see this? She, like, holds a hand out.
I mean, it's for you. He hands it to you.
I want to look it over again. If you could PM it to me.
All right.
The exact writing, or post it in the chat.
No, I can PM it to you real quick.
Good, good.
Anton stands up also. I can add to potential alliances that you have gathered as I look to the whatever the big guy is. I forgot his name.
The big guy was only introduced as the Red Storm. You didn't actually get an actual name, just a title.
Yeah, I will just like look towards him and nod. I know that there are potential alliances with the Nords, although the Nordlands is in shambles right now, which is also where the Trask is. The Rakshasa, the Aarakocra, the Changelings, technically have sworn alliances that Cyrus has set up. That's a longer story than we have for this table today. But we do have the potential of calling on them as well.
So here are your options, I guess. You could go talk to them. Although I'd save the Rakshasa for last. When I was spending time with Aaron in my off time, I'm not gonna lie, she did tell me that one of them tried to eat her leg. So I'm gonna recommend you not go to them first.
Yeah, considering the past infestation where they took over nearly the entire Tiefling lands and were killing and impersonating us all, yes, I believe they would be good for last.
I mean, they also did that to the Dragon's Gate. They tried doing that to Toutler. Apparently, though, Dragonborn can sniff out Rakshasa. I don't know why. It's a thing.
I can?
Apparently, you guys can tell the difference between Dragonborn and other species by the scent.
I don't know. I guess I'm not big on smelling.
You know, I hear you, man. I wouldn't want to smell your people either, especially living in the continent you do. That can't be the greatest scent if they haven't bathed in a week. No offense.
We don't. I don't know, man. What am I even doing here? I feel like you guys are talking about wars and countries and treaties.
Allow me to clarify. You are here because the one known as Malthor, who jumped stupidly after something that probably was bad, asked them to bring you along.
There you go.
Yeah, we have two major things coming in the future. That noise towards the end before we left the Nord capital is a Trask that has been set loose on, I suppose, both worlds. We also have a pending God War that we are having to deal with that will, in essence, affect the entirety of both worlds.
Gaul looks at you for a second and goes, there's a god... Oh, fuck.
I was even informed of this. How did he not know?
Listen, I've been stuck in a room taking care of my daughter this entire time because someone's a terrible mother these days and just goes off on adventures without me. He says as he kind of takes a few steps away.
Wait, you go on adventures?
Who did he say that to?
He said that out loud in the Gentner group, and that's why it took a few steps away from Tikva.
No, I meant Kips. Who did Kips say that to?
I said, wait, you go on adventures to him?
Golf.
Because
I mean, you're basically the mother at this point. I'm just gonna be honest here.
If I didn't have to leave the kingdom to go on these adventures, I assure you I'd love to be part of my daughter's upbringing. But times call for things, and my duty lies in making sure the world doesn't end, I'm afraid, dear.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he's loud. When my kind got loud, the heli used to just turn our voices off.
We could do that. Just for
You do
reference.
not have the tools.
You know, you'd be surprised on how resourceful I am. As he pulls a thumb out.
My gears would grind that into mulch.
I imagine, but hear me out. And he pulls out what looks to be a little, what you can only guess is like a rubber duck.
Where are you even hiding these things? There are no pockets on kilts. The Nords used to wear them.
Mm-hmm. Listen, this lube isn't just for show. That's well known. This oil is all for something. As far as it goes, my recommendation of advice here is with our current troops, we don't have enough to do much. So you got a couple choices here. Either go out and make friends, or give up.
There's always the third option. Go out and conquer everyone else.
If it was that easy, my dear robot, trust me, we would have done it long ago.
Yes, I believe the Tieflings have been trying to do that for how many centuries now? CR55, update your realism, whatever setting it is. For realism.
I mean, is the Warforged of this? Never mind.
No, I was created by the Heli many years ago.
Oh, good. So
Yes,
he's from
he
the
is
other
from...
world.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
There's also other news. So the pirate guilds of Incremia, they've united under someone. I don't know who, but apparently he has cat ears.
It's a furry, guys. It's a furry, guys.
We all know who it is.
Did
He climbed his way out of hell.
Did Tikva see him with the cat ears before their death?
Nope. They did not have them when they died.
Tikva would not know.
No, but she would have seen him with them around.
She wasn't there for the cat ears though, so she would not know.
No, but we were in the area. He walked past her multiple times when he had the cat ears.
No, because we were in the Yuan-Ti lands and then we died and then they were buried. Remember?
I have questions. What are you gonna do? Because I can continue to gather up. We've gained a decent amount of troops, and we've got about half of the country under our full control and purged of most of the issues. However,
if provided with a workspace, I could start working on some artillery to help with the efforts.
It's good to know. We're fortifying, I know you haven't been out and about yet, but surprisingly, we now have this has now been turned into a full castle. The manor has towers, and we have an outer wall and an inner wall. We're turning it slowly into its own city.
It needs grenades.
We've gained the majority of trade here, and we've reestablished power. So at this point, the question really is, yeah. What are we doing here?
Suppose we should consult with my party. I personally believe it wisest to fortify alliances and gain more power. I mean, I don't think you can be over-prepared for a giant Tarrasque attacking the world, not to mention a god war. Yes, that too. Speaking of Gaul, and she gestures him closer.
Yes.
Perhaps keep this a bit low for the public, but I have reasons to believe my cousin might still be alive in some way, shape, or form. Keep an eye out for that, would you?
He also begins to whisper in your ear something that I'm going to PM you.
Nice. That was whispered, by the way, for all you nosy players in the voice chat.
CR55 doesn't care.
Good.
You're whispering to your mate.
Oh my god.
Yeah, nosy people. Yeah, nosy people. Come on. Don't be so nosy.
You're the only nosy person here, Tren, because of your giant nose that gets in everyone's information.
Fearbolgs also have large noses. Let's be honest here.
Listen, you're just jealous of my massive sniffer.
CR55 is going to look at Kips. Mammals are very strange to me.
We ain't got noses. We got snouts.
Reptiles are just as strange, but at least they lay eggs. They're more easily read.
I also lay eggs.
Gull kind of smiles.
That is
Goes,
concerning.
Did you hear about the really large dragonborn woman that got one of her eggs kidnapped? It was apparently the child hatched and died on the field in Traffic. It was quite an entertaining story to hear about.
That sounds horrifying.
No, I'm not
Wait.
sure.
When Heli used to try to kidnap dragon eggs, they usually ended up
Wait.
warring on cities and destroying almost everything.
Oh,
Millions of my kind died.
Yes, he did die. He was killed in a dire goose accident.
Oh, so it is Fuka's character. That's what I thought, but
Dire goose.
Uh-huh.
Kionk kionk.
Oh yes, and we've discovered a new species. We've been training them up as mounts. I should mention this. The dire goose is now officially the official mount of the Tiefling Kingdom.
It's because they can fly.
Oh no, they can't fly very well, but they are terrifying.
it'll strike
As any
fear into
goose
the hearts
is.
of our enemies. Good.
I mean, they
They
may
can
not be
also
afraid
swim.
at first, but when those things get in a pack, oh my god, I heard they can devour an entire changeling.
I'm just
Are geese the same in this world where they have many teeth inside those bills?
Oh yes, and the dire ones
Oh,
are even more
yes.
terrifying.
And
Oh,
even more the
gods.
bloodlust.
By
But
all that is unholy and holy, they need to be stopped quickly.
but regardless, what are your guys' thoughts? I know, Esteros, you were dragged into this soon. CR55, you probably don't know as much. I assume Anton was
Grenades.
updated.
That is
but
my only addition. Grenades and other
What
artillery
about-
that is useful.
the others then? We can work on items for combat and war, perhaps later down the line.
I would also recommend you get a priest to try and pray to whatever god your ally believed in from the letter to see if you can send a message back. Or if you have someone who knows the spell sending. Maybe use
Well,
them to use that to
I
contact
know
him.
sending. I know it as well.
Cyrus, then.
Are you There's only... Except, technically, he's not familiar with him.
He saw him for like 2 minutes.
That'd be DM's discretion at that point.
I do believe that out of the other alliances that we could look for, the pirates may be the easiest to convince.
Yes.
Their leader is familiar with the kingdom.
That's true. And pirates, I'm sure they want access to the sea, to raiding,
And
to money,
loot.
and I'm not sure on the loot end, but Tieflings, as an island country, we do have a lot of access to the sea.
Offer them area of port. Crying child.
Perhaps.
Little
Pirates and...
Zai's crying.
No.
Baby has mastered
He-
thaumaturgy.
Oh. Little Zaya's crying.
Yep, in the back.
Y'all better go quick, because apparently that child can do some magical stuff.
Thaumaturgy.
Gaul
suddenly
just
all the
looks
doors lock.
Looks about and goes, "Oh no, she knows catapult now. I will be right back," as he runs. Not again, I can't afford a
Loud
second
crash.
babysitter.
Loud crash. Someone's running down the hall screaming bloody murder. Good job, Gaul. Good job. That baby's
Why
already
is
more
the
accomplished than you.
child spraying colors all over the walls again? You hear off in the distance.
Right.
The verbal components are just cries and sobs.
Seems about right.
Sir, do you
Anyways,
need help?
CR55 would simply be simply agreeing with pirates would be easiest because you can offer them payment. They are no different than mercenaries in that regard.
And then,
Although do watch for backstabbing.
DM, can you say again the alliances Gaul said were iffy that we should probably talk to? The Rakshasa, I think
Oh,
you said
so
the changelings and who
currently,
else?
The nations that would have been labeled as not or considered neutral, I'll just copy and paste them into the chat. There you go. Those would be all of the known neutral nations currently.
All right, so the pirates, the Rakshasa are going to be last. We could the Nords, although they have a vampire thing going on, and
I
the
thought the Sea Elves were
there.
against us.
We had Zaya and them had a bit of a thing, but they would be useful.
Perhaps we need to speak with them because also they control underwater, so possibly useful.
Possibly. Probably some of the elves. How far are the Goliaths from the Tiefling Kingdom?
They are just if you're flying by your ship, it'll take you only a few weeks to get there. They're basically where Australia would be.
I'm also gonna look at Anton. What, Matt? Do you know any teleportation circles to the lands where these would be?
I will have to refer to the DM because we didn't finalize all the locations that I have, but I have everything that Cyrus did.
Yeah, we haven't rolled around to it, so at this point, we will. I will figure that out after game.
Because that would be the easiest place to start up with. Is after he cross references that, we could easily teleport to those circles, and that would immediately show that we at least know at least someone in our party is an ally to them, or knows someone who was.
Genasi, maybe. I don't know much about Genasi. I don't think the gnomes are going to work out purely because if I recall, the leader of them is Zilpip's mother.
She may hate him. Gnomes can be very fickle.
Oh, that was out of character, FYI. I'm just like telling the party. Last I recall, Zilpip's mother ruled that place, so I don't know how charismatic we think we all are. But
convince her that her son's planning to murder her. Boppity boopy.
Maybe. That's an iffy one, though. I'm just saying personally, I think gnomes are iffy.
Hold that one off till second to last.
The orcs are apparently already got a thing. Dwarves we could maybe look into. What's the Kingdom of Man again? That was that island that Zaya visited before, right?
The Island of Man.
Yeah,
oh god.
Yeah,
flashbacks to time fornicators.
Yeah, the Kingdom of Man, it was the Kingdom of Adara, but Adara is no longer the leader of it. In fact, it's not known who rules over the Kingdom of Man now.
But they aren't like currently allied with anyone else, right?
That is correct.
Well, technically Aaron's human, correct?
That is true.
Yes.
Yep.
We could perhaps use her as like a leverage, like, hey, we're on Aaron's side.
Queen for
join us. Yes, join her with Dragon's Gate, unite, and join us. So we could potentially look into those.
Yeah, you could push Aaron's claim to the throne if you could figure out a way to link them to the throne if you wanted to.
True.
CR55 and Kip start running blood tests. Figure out if she's related to Adara.
I can answer that one without. That'd be a no.
Then we fake the evidence.
That's actually how it used to work. So yeah, no, that's could be, you could do that.
Yeah. Forged documents. If only I was Zaya. I think she had proficiency with the forgery kit.
Find a Kenku.
Looks to where Gaul was. Looks to the door. Shouts, lanky man wife thing. Can you forge documents?
Gaul comes back in holding Zaya, covered in different colors of what you can only get, you hope is water. As you see the Red Storm kind of leave at this point, he's done. And as Gaul comes in, he goes, yeah, I'm experienced with forgery kits.
Could you forge something stating that this ally of your guys is that runs Dragon's Gate, if she is human, is the genetic ruler of the Kingdom of the Man?
Would have any sort of claim to the human throne?
The issue is Aaron. If you're not familiar with her, I did a little research on her, as I did for everyone else. She's technically got more claim to the Dwarven kingdoms than she would technically have to the human kingdoms. Mostly because of the fact that her family is from the Mountain Dwarf lands, from what I recall. And her father served as an elite guard, so he has a knighthood, so to speak, in the Mountain Dwarf lands. So they might take her, but the Kingdom of Man, you're more likely to find uniqueness through Logalthus, who was supposedly a servant of Adara's, and then that reversed much later on.
Then we should
We need to
use
find a
her
random
as
human
leverage
who
with
we
the
can hide
dwarves. And
and
we can
utilize.
speak to the human lands, but I feel like if we have more lean towards the dwarves, then we should focus on the dwarves as well as the pirates.
Do the dwarves, the pirates, then we can try with these new world orc. We can focus on the orcs from my world. Would CR55 know anything of the orcs to share?
Yeah, CR55, you would actually know this is a pretty common rumor that even you would have heard about, which was that the current queen of the orcs supposedly laid with the king of the dwarves, and that her 3 children are all technically half-dwarves.
Given that,
Get the dwarves, get the orcs
share
with
this.
them.
Yeah, they're not allies. They're currently at war with each other. But yeah.
Solve the war. Tell them bigger threat is coming. They can fight it out later. Petty mortal squabbles.
You're
CR55's
technically mortal.
overloading.
Yeah.
CR55's mortal, but can't die to age very easily.
He looks, Goal looks at you as he continues holding the child and goes, well, you can do that. I will say, based on the map, the Goliaths are probably likely to side with Logolthus, being that he is a Goliath, technically. I mean, there's a lot of mix and match amongst them.
Get him on our side, that would be useful, understood.
As far as the others, I would recommend with any of the, if you can get the Toth, you can probably get about the rest of the races down the Southern Islands. There's plenty of options as far. There's a lot of races that are honestly slaves to either the Toth or the Heli. There are also the very few races that we don't have much information on that are considered what we would call, no offense to the Dragonborn, but very primal species. They are just a little bit below the Dragonborn, and we've heard terms of them called Salmorians, but that's probably a mistranslation for language. They look like Dragonborn, but they're a little weaker in scale, but larger and hungrier. Poor Fred, he got devoured on the ship scouting mission.
You think they'd be easy to convince then?
Oh god, not at all. They would be, I mean, they're going to probably eat you more than likely, but, you know, I have faith in you, and not just because of the fact that I'm
like
tired
to see
of
them
being pegged.
Eat me.
You know, I'll be honest, they will try.
It will be an interesting challenge.
They ate half of our ship. Like, half of it floated back.
Interesting challenge.
The Toth, what do we know about them in these other races in the Southern Islands?
Well, the Toth, they look like these really dead Eric Cochran. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're related. But they're extremely good with magic. They're really smart, but they're very fragile. They look like they've been mummified for some reason. The species that they run, well, there's some sort of pre-weak Knoll with 3 variations. There's the Rakshasa, who are technically a vassal of the Toth. The Centaur people, and oh shoot, I don't even remember all of the rest. There's so many different species down there that are currently ruled over by these guys.
What?
So
you
get
said
Toth.
they're weak. So
they're
if we
physically
could offer them,
weak, yes.
But their magic is powerful.
So if we could offer them perhaps physical protection or some sort of armaments or weapons or something of that sort, you think they'd be convinced that way?
Maybe they hate the Heli. I mean, they're both magic casters. Magic casters don't like each other, from what I understand. I know our daughter doesn't seem to like me as she continues to spit colors on me.
If it makes you feel better, I like you.
Flash hits his face.
Oh, also she also now knows creation, which was a very bad idea. I'm very mad at the nanny for teaching her that. I got an adamantine ball dropped on my head yesterday. It was not fun.
Do you still have that ball?
No, it dissipated, but you know.
Damn. Would have been useful.
Tell me about it. There are many options. I recommend, as far as it goes right now, figuring out whether you want to focus on sabotage or Yeah.
Could you send spies to do sabotage and gather intelligence?
That's what happened with Fred and Chuck. Not Zaya's Chuck, but different Chuck. Apparently he's a half elf. We're not going into the questions. However, if you want, there is a species that has been requesting an alliance with you lot, or with you, my dear. As he kind of looks about. The Voli?
Fully.
But they are in, how do I explain? They're in a realm that's not exactly safe.
Where?
What is this realm?
Are you familiar with the domain of chaos?
Perhaps vaguely. Damn.
The domain of chaos is basically Calthoon's domain. It's pretty well known that this would be his personal plane.
Do I know like?
Oh, Calthoon's the god of destruction.
No, I mean like but like.
You would have
yeah,
heard
no,
that
we got suicide bomb.
Zerwin?
Yes.
No, but how we'd get there and back?
Oh no, you'd have no idea. No. And as Gaul continues,
I would think for a second.
Gaul,
probably a priest.
As Gaul continues, he goes, yeah, domain of chaos south of that in Abaddon. I believe you'll find this species living there. My advice, there's a teleportation circle that we were informed of back near, actually south of where you guys came from, in the lands known as the Eclipse Lands. These territories were destroyed a long time ago, apparently, by the Heli. And there's a portal there you could go through that would take you straight to Abaddon, and actually straight to their capital of these Voli. They're pretty angry people, but they hate the Heli, and are sworn enemies, and have been at war with them for, as long as the species has been together.
Would CR55 recognize this?
Give me a roll. Give me a history roll.
Don't know his history right off the top of my head, so I'm just gonna roll.
As long as we come presenting ourselves as also sworn enemies
plus
of the
whatever
Heli.
my history is.
Okay, 1 second.
Go
ahead, Tikva.
+0.
So as long as we come there presenting ourselves as also enemies of the Heli and offer them our aid in conquering them or killing them off, do you think they'd be convinced that way?
Well, from the ambassador we met, they're warlike people, like every other nation these days. So yeah, maybe. They really hate the Heli. I can say they're sworn enemies. And CR55, with your role, you don't recall anything. This happened before your time.
If they hate the Heli, it might be poor planning to take me, one of the Heli's creations that they used for war.
Well, technically, you were formed by Cyrus, were you not? He was he was a human.
He was half Heli.
Regardless, you were made by him and taken over by the Heli. I'm sure that's excusable. My question is, being a warlike people and hating the Heli, do they also hate magic in turn? That would be an issue.
They're pretty good at magic. They apparently constantly are hunting and fighting demons. So, there's that.
Good. If need be, we'll just leave you on the ship or something, CR55.
Put me in Kips's area. I will make you grenades.
Oh, gods. Well, if you don't need me anymore, I'm going to try and go and figure out how to unteach our daughter Catapult as she launched a rock into the bar next door. I will be...
You could try teaching
her
to catapult certain objects.
Her memory is very good.
Don't
Or replace it with a more hilarious spell. Prestidigitation, perhaps.
Oh, please, Lord, no. As he turns and walks. And the doors are shut.
If you want, I can teach her Animate Dead.
And then the door slams shut, and you guys are left to your own devices. As the DM runs to the restroom and you guys plan stuff.
Okay.
I think I should teach her Animate.
Time. What do we think would be the best course of action for the races? We should try to.
We need to go with the ones that are going to be easiest to convince first, as well as easiest to get to.
So I
Well, the
think
leader
pirate.
leader of the pirates is Captain.
Yeah,
Most likely.
Ricard. Most
Oh,
likely.
it is.
Whether or
It is.
not.
I know it is.
Yeah, so
Out of
assuming he
game.
doesn't. Kips, please your phone. Assuming he doesn't hate us now after he died, I assume yeah.
Well, I mean, the only
And
one of
then-
us that he could honestly hate is Malthor.
Yeah, but he
Yeah,
also was
the-
trying to help you.
Yeah, out of game, Cyrus brought him back and established him as the leader of the.
Oh, then no, yeah,
Pirates.
you should be buddy with us. Then the Voldy are trying to talk to us, so although they're gonna be
Send a
harder
delegation.
to get to, or they might be like a later one we get to, just due to them being near the Hellion stuff. They sound
We
like
need to
they'd
wait
be
for the
easy to
Trask
convince.
to pass.
Yeah.
Well, in theory, yeah,
Um,
because if there's a teleportation circle there, Anton might know it, or at least be able to get somewhere
Mhm.
close, and then go with the
Well, he
airship.
said it was just south of where we were,
Yeah.
where we came from.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know.
I feel like the dwarves are good, especially if we can use Aaron's like connections as like a way to get us in. The elves, if we can get them, I'm sure would be useful. I'm not sure connections.
Definitely.
Uh,
Sea elves
again-
would definitely be useful, and if we have the
I
pirates on our
was
side,
gonna
the sea
say
elves
I
would be...
think the Rakshasa and sea elves we should look into, but due to past conflicts with the Tieflings and with Zaya, I feel like they might be a risk, so we might want to hold off. And same thing with the gnomes. If they have ties
Send
to
a peace
Ziltip,
delegation to both
then-
of them
yeah.
first, possibly.
yeah, or a scout or something to see it.
And there is one other option we have. CR-55 theoretically could build small robots to use instead of sending tieflings.
If you can, but if we're gonna be looking at the other alliances, then you can build those to send in the meantime.
That way we send them peace
the-
delegations and have them holding verbal recorded messages or something.
Something. The Nords, assuming they can recover from the vampire thing, I think considering we helped clear that out and we have Anton and Cyrus, I feel like we should have sway over them. I don't know how useful they'll be or how put together they'll be, but we should have sway over them.
They don't need to
Yeah.
be put together. They just need to move on to the tiefling lands, let's be honest.
If they survive the Trask, yeah, I don't think they're gonna have much of anything left. If we could just round up the survivors, I think that'd be good. But again, once the Trask has passed, we could hit up the Nords and then go see the Volley or whatever, kind of as a joint thing if they're in the same area. I
Yeah.
don't know about the humans. Apparently, I don't know if we've really any connections to Logothus or whoever. They might have connections to.
You guys don't. We don't currently. However, let's not forget, Malthor is alive, thanks to a good roll.
Nice.
Um,
You're gonna be near the dwarves, aren't you? That was what your letter said. So if you have ties to the dwarves, then, or would be in the same
Malthor
area.
might buy the time, but he's the only person that actually would know where he was, and he might have shared this with, because Malthor did share this with Zaya and Cyrus about the mountain that he had to go to
Yep.
see his god.
Which Cyrus did not share with Tikva before he zoomed out, even upon my request.
The only other person that he might have shared it with is Anton.
Anton. Yeah.
And I'm sorry,
the
if Anton
special
shows
boy.
up there, he might have a sword to his throat, suddenly being like, okay, who the fuck are you? Explain now. You have no option.
It's fine, as long as you don't kill him. Or if you could kill him, because that Armor of Hadar BS is... God. But yeah, I don't know about the humans. The Toth we
others-
could attempt, because if they're
Well,
gonna have a
there is
lot of
the
other
other option
people...
of sending a peace delegation to the humans as well, and to whoever their leader is, whether it be a council or whatnot.
We only have so many people in the kingdom. I don't think we can send
Again,
out
building
constant
robots.
peace delegations. But that's going to take time. So we need to decide on who we're going to visit first. Because assuming you butcher your rolls often a lot, we could not have a peace delegation after a couple of sessions, depending on how Royce makes you do that.
Yeah.
Well, and if we get the pirates right away, they might be able to help provide
Help
ships.
us trap.
to
Yeah, and
do-
if the southern islands have the Toth and everything, we probably need
And
ships
that would
for
be a good thing, and make sure they know we're sending you as peace to these guys so that we can end up having them help us kill more people.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think pirates right away, probably the Volley. Try to actually get to
Yep.
them early on.
And we can get the Nords if they're not all dead.
And then go to the Toth.
Yeah.
Yep. And then work on the dwarves and stuff, probably back in the overworld. Or whatever.
I think
Yeah,
so.
Overworld.
it sounds like we have a plan of attack.
Alright. As
Okay.
long as asterisk what little you know, Kips. I don't know how much you know about this either.
Kips will go along as he gets to experiment on things. Let's be real.
I do get free corpses.
Think of it, pirates. They hate scurvy. What do they love? Lemons and oranges
Yep.
and other
Genius.
citrus fruits.
Genius. This is
Exactly.
why I follow you guys. This
There
is
we
why
go.
you are-
Kips is now
are
convinced to
my-
go to the pirates first. They may have
you-
oranges. He needs
you-
oranges next.
You are my muses. You inspire me.
God damn it. Okay.
Looks
so
at
yeah.
looks at Kips. Can you make me a lemon-based cleaning fluid? My joints are stiff.
I can just rub lemons into your wounds if you wish.
He doesn't have blood,
That
it
may
wouldn't burn.
assist.
It wouldn't burn. It would probably be weird, but I can do it.
As long as the acid in the fruit doesn't like dissolve anything, yeah, you'd be fine.
All right.
But I thought lemon juice makes things rust, though.
I
We'll
don't know.
discuss this later.
All right.
But yeah, I would suggest spending the night here, heading out in the morning, possibly to the
Mhm.
pirates first, if we know where
Where
they
they're at.
might
Anton,
be
Yeah.
or
you
a
know
way to
you
contact
do
them.
know exactly where they are. So.
That's what I figured.
Yep, good old Anton.
All right.
You may want to use a way to message Malthor and see if he can assist with the dwarven issue. Might be a good way to go about it, as he's already there by the letter.
I can try tomorrow. Because I
Okay.
do not have sending
All right.
known to it today.
As the party decides on the Pirate Kingdom first, the party gathers, enjoys their meals, and begins to head back to their respective rooms.
CR-55 just staying in the throne room standing.
That's fine.
He has nothing to do. He'll tinker for the next
As the night goes
8
on,
hours.
the party retires for the evening. Anton, you continue working on to your spells, figuring out which ones you want for the next day before passing out. Is
Mhm.
there anything else you'd like to do?
No, I
Okay.
think that's it.
Okay.
I want to do something.
I was getting to you. Asterisk.
Oh, sorry.
As you retire to your room, having more meat brought to your room to be dropped off for your pet Drake, what would you like to do?
For the dog.
I'm gonna cast some spells. The first spell that I'm gonna cast is called Intellect Fortress,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second spell that I'm gonna do is called Contact Other Plane.
Okay.
So, Asterisk goes back to his room. He didn't really say anything when you guys talked to him. Like he kind of just like stayed back, was very reserved. And eventually, like someone shows him to a room. And he'll look over at Idris, his Drake,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll say, "What am I supposed to do here, Saphira? Am I doing right by you?" And basically, Saphira has been using his pack Drake as like a mouthpiece. So I need to make an intelligence saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
DC 15,
Mhm.
or else I go fucking insane.
Yep.
But Intellect Fortress gives me advantage.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Good thing I have
Wouldn't be the
advantage.
first crazy person in this party.
And what'd you get?
I rolled a 9. So
All together?
I do go insane. But
Nice.
it goes away after a long rest.
Yep. And as soon as the insanity begins to hit you, your mind begins to meld, and you basically find yourself unconscious as you fall to the ground, passing out. You're very accustomed to doing this as an emergency measure to avoid injuring anything. However, in your dream, you do see something, Asteris. You see two dragons. First, you see the great sapphire dragon known as the queen of all dragons, Saphira. And then you see a very large, almost pure white, almost to the point where gleaming, white dragon. And you see the two fighting. As you continue to watch this, as you find yourself not able to get any closer, no matter how fast you run towards them. And for a moment, you hear the words, "Protect the young," before the dream fades away. And you go back to a full restful sleep. And that's all you get till the next day. We'll come back to you later. Kips, as you are escorted to your room, what would you like to do?
Okay. First off, opening my lab door, as usual. Okay. Let's see. What do I want to do first? How about... You know what? I'm not really all too sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just leave I'll just leave my lab open in case I think of anything, but I guess I'll just do and just review notes maybe and just go over stuff.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You have advantage on your next intelligence check.
Cool.
All right. Malthor / CR55. As CR55, as you kind of stay in the throne room, continuing, I imagine, to look the compound metal that was given to you.
Analyzing it and seeing what uses I could apply it to.
This metal,
as well as how it could possibly be made,
is unidentifiable. You've never seen anything of this make. There's no history of it. As you scour through the library, or the small library of books in the throne room, nothing seems to match it. Even after going and speaking to a few of the local smiths and such to see if they knew anything of the metal, this metal can't be hammered, it can't be shaped. It seems almost impossible to do anything with.
I'm going to set it down, and instead of trying to force it to do anything, start seeing if it responds to any of the magic that's within me instead, within CR55.
Nope. Nothing seems to happen. It just
I guess I just put it away for now.
Okay.
And start finding other things to tinker with and work on to try and improve.
Okay. All right. We will come back to you later. Tikva.
Yeah.
As you return to your room, you see Gulls and they're passed out. The child is asleep. You're not sure who snores louder at this point between the two of them.
Baby Castomaturgy in her sleep.
And you see a small note a small piece of paper with what looks to be some markings on it, right at the foot of the statue of Zaya Ravensong.
I will walk over, very quiet, very just not disrupting the other two, and I'll just lean down and pick up the note.
Okay. As you pick up the note, looking it over, it reads very clearly in Infernal, stating the fact, or this: "Dear cousin, I live, and I do plan to. I will have your back, but first I must accomplish things." Signed, the only song that matters, and that's it.
Tikva will...
No, go ahead.
I will say Tikva will kind of clutch the note tightly. She'll look at the statue, and in Infernal, under her breath, she's going to whisper, "Best of luck, my cousin."
And as soon as you whisper that, you hear Gaul whisper, or say in his sleep, I should have never married Cyrus. And starts to snore again.
Tickbug's giving him a look, but I doubt it'll wake Gaul up because he's used to getting that look from Tickbug. So she just tuck the note into her pocket. If you want to PM me that, just so I can write it down.
Mm-hmm.
And are the training grounds open
at this time late? Of night? Yeah, I mean they're always open. It's just whether there are people there or not.
Yeah, Tick wanted to before going to bed, see if she could summon the unicorn again, see how it is after the fight, and then potentially try training more with it to see if like everything goes well, if there are any issues with her affinity with it, and such things.
Okay. All right. As you spend the night training away, we will come back later. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode. We will see you next weekend when the party heads out on their next task. I hope you've enjoyed this series thus far, and thank you all. That's all I got.